everyone, thanks so much for coming through to this video today. And today we are going to have a go at drawing those skate boots that you can see above for ice skating. We're going to draw them, then we're going to colour them with markers, then we will watercolour, and we'll also acrylic paint. I will make sure the chapters are marked below so that you can skip to whichever one you want to do, but the drawing one will be first, so I suggest you watch that first. All my designs, every time I do a new theme on my channel, they have a book that you can get from Amazon or on my website, which is also all linked below. Basically, they take you through step by step, as I will on the screen in a minute, with a different idea every time we do a video. So this time it's our skates, as you can see there. They go up from a level 1 all the way to a level 4, and this is a level 3. So it's good that you have all the difficulty levels and you can work through, and each time we do a new theme you can have an easier day and you can have a more difficult day depending on what mood you're in. You can also get the downloads to print for free, so if you would prefer those, all you need to do is go to my website heartanddesign.org.uk, which is linked below, and you can get the downloadables. Every time I bring a new set out, I just email it straight out to you all. But if you've missed this one, check the community tab, as I've left a link there for you all, and then you can download them onto whatever paper you want and you're free to use them however you want. So we're going to get started today on drawing our ice skates. I don't want to waste any more of your time. Missed a step. So we've got 1, 2, 3 we need to add on at the actual bottom of the skates, 4 is the detail on the laces, 5 is the detail of the whole thing, and then 6 is the final outline. So what I do is I draw in pencil first and then we outline in black at the end. So what you'll need for today is some paper of your choice. I've got quite a thick paper. I just like to have it quite thick. It's a nice smooth paper. Yeah, you need a pencil, an HB or something like that. I think I've got an F. No, I've got an HB today, or a 2B or a 2H, something like that. You'll need a rubber, of course, an eraser. Have it on hand in case you need it. We all make mistakes. And I think that's about it to start with. And don't forget, you'll need a liner pen if you want to line it afterwards. And also don't forget your sharpener, because you always need a nice sharp pencil. Let's get started. Now, when I do these videos, all of them, they're not rehearsed. I'm just going for it. I mean, obviously I've drawn it before, but when it comes to the markers, the watercolors and the acrylic, I'm just having a go. I think you learn better that way. You'll learn from my mistakes, from what I'm doing. So let's get started. I do have a small faint outline which you can possibly see, because I wanted to make sure that I can get mine as accurate as possible for you guys so that it matches exactly what's on the screen. Okay, so first boot outline. What I do is think about where your square of the design is going to be on the sheet. Make sure you leave a gap at the top and bottom, and then you could even chop it off if you wanted to, or draw lines, and then we'll start with the boot. So it's actually, the first boot is not in the middle of the paper, it's just a little bit off to that side. So I'm going to start by drawing the flap of the boot in first. So we're just drawing a little line coming up. Hopefully you can see that. I'm pressing hard. Please don't press hard because you won't be able to erase it. But I'm pressing hard so that you can see. You will see better when I outline it. And then I'm coming across. Now what you can do is be using lots of little light marks to try and get the line as perfect as you like that. Just trying to get those little lines in. But I'm trying to be as quick and as neat and tidy for you as possible, so I probably won't do that, but for you guys, yeah, try and do that. Now as we come down, you can see the ridges on the boot there. Well, actually that's just where the laces are going to go, so don't worry about that too much. All I want you to do from here on down is do a little bit of a sweeping curve like that. Can you see that? I'll press a bit harder this time, so I'll come down in small strokes, which is what I recommend you guys to do, and do it nice and light. Obviously, as I've said, I'm pressing quite hard. Now the next thing is the curve of the boot coming down. So you want to do it to where the toe would be, and then a little bit more for the bottom. Okay. Now I'm just going to draw the flap where the holes go on the back. So come down a little bit from the top and then just draw this coming round. Now remember, the proportions and everything don't have to be exactly perfect. Yeah, just try and get in as much as you can. This is meant to be a fun activity, so let's not get too worried about all the finer details. Now just towards the end where I drew that line at the top, I'm going to come back a bit and just draw up and then down a little bit, and as this starts to curve I want to stop there because it's also going to curve when we come down this side. I'm going to carry on from the top, drawing down. It's just diagonally down. We're going to come out a little bit, and then I'm thinking where this starts to come round and curve, I'm going to come around the bottom of the shoe, and it's roughly where, can you see here where the toe level is? They're roughly the same place, okay? They're roughly on the same level. Then I can join them up. Now for you can move your paper around if you want. I'm going to try and do it in a straight line so that you can see at the right angle. So normally I would move it so that I'm kind of drawing to myself. It's the easiest way to draw is to come down like that. Okay, but I'm going to try and do it awkwardly with my hand. So I'm just sketching along. I'm not worrying too much. We can change things. Remember, we can rub out. And then I've come down to where it's opposite here to where the laces are. And then I'm just joining it up to where the bottom of the boot was here. So you can start to see shoe forming quite quickly. So where we came down here, I'm just going to follow the line of the boot. I'm going to curve here and come up and join the back. Now, as I've done that line going up to the back, I've gone a little bit thinner because we're going into the background, and that will give the sense of perspective as it goes into the background. If I'm going too fast, by the way, guys, please just pause me and then carry on again. All right, I'm just going ahead because some people want a nice quick video. Right, so I'm coming down where the heel is at the back, not quite coming down as flat as the bottom of the boot because again it's going back into the background and it will seem like it's higher up. It's not, it's just further in the background. And then I'm going to do the inside of the heel, coming from about halfway down, maybe a bit, well, a bit further and around here. So we've created the bottom of that boot. In fact, I need to be a bit lower than that. Okay, so there's the bottom of that boot. Now underneath there are just a couple of little round bits here, which is part of the decoration of the boot. Now I'm looking at the sheet myself. Oh, we haven't done, I knew there was something we hadn't done. So right where this bit curls, we're going to stop there. Okay, and we're just going to do a big curl, comes all the way right to the top. And that's step one done. How easy was that? Okay, now remember, stop and start me. So every time I do a bit, stop, do it yourself, do small strokes. Okay, and then if you make a mistake, you can use your eraser. That's what it's there for. And yeah, and then move on, watch me again. All right, it's probably the best way to do it. And also I do recommend you watch them all the way through and then come back to the beginning so you know what's coming in your head, you know what's coming next. Now step two. Step two is the second boot. So coming from the back flap here, we're just going to do in line with kind of this diagonal. We're going to do another line coming up here. Can you see that? Yeah. And then from there, we're going to just curve around and come down and create the top of that boot and do another little hook shape like we did on there. It's just to show where the laces are going to be. Then what we're going to do is curve round and make the boot flap matching the other one. See, you can see I'm basically just doing a shadow of that other boot, and then just do like that hook shape for the back. Simple. You can do this. You've got this. Okay, so now we want to come and do the boot shape again. So I'm coming a little bit down from where we've drawn where the laces will go in. And then we're going to come down here and just swing round again. We're going to follow the line of this boot all the way down to here and then come across. All right. I'm going to do the same at the back. bring it down here, and then basically the bottom of the boot is where the other one had this top bit here. Can you see? And then we can draw another line in here, and that's the bottom of the boot. And that's pretty much it, guys. So that's a nice easy step. Step 3. Step 3 is the bottom part of the boots, which was the bit I'd missed off at the beginning of the video. So we're going to draw that in now. We are going to come from, I think what we'll do the front one first. So start a little bit in from the toe, okay, and then just do that little hook shape there. It's like a diagonal really. And then we're going to go zigzag for a little bit to show the sharp bit at the front where you stop. And then I would say we come out to about here. As you can see, there's the lines. I have the guide, you won't have that. So it's like a long line here, sticks out a bit further than the heel of the boot. Forgive me, I do suffer with a brain fog, and I find it very difficult to think of noun words. So sometimes I'm umming and umming and umming. It's because I'm trying to think of a word. Do forgive me. It's something I just have to deal with. Right, so it comes down and hooks around here. On this second little bump, again, it comes down to here. And we're just going to swing it round to just past where the foot bends. Come up. Do another line down. Do another line down here. And swing around there. Okay, so that's step 3. Another oh no, it's not, because we need to do the one behind it, don't we? Silly me. Okay, so we need to do a diagonal line there, zig zig zigzag, and basically it's the same as before. Come across, and you'll see it through here. So come across here and come across here and go up there. All right, so that you can see it all the way back, and it makes it look more real if you can show that through that space. We're going to repeat this shape here. And we're going to just draw another line in here where this big gap would be on that skate. Okay, so there's just a line there in that space. Okay, so next step. Let's get going. We are on, oh, it's the laces part. Now this is quite tricky, so take your time. The first thing I'm going to do is just put holes, 3 holes in our top of each boot where we made that little flap come over the front. Okay, don't worry about them being perfect little round circles. We're drawing by hand, so it's totally fine. Right, we're going to do the back laces first, and what we need to try and do is think about where the laces are coming in. So we're going to draw first of all curves going all the way up like that. They're like the holes where the laces are going to go, and you need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So what I suggest you do is roughly draw in where they are, very, very lightly. Make sure they're spaced out from the bottom to the top. As long as you've done that, you'll be fine. Okay, so now what we're going to do is join them up by making the laces have these kind of crossover feel. I'm just thinking it might be easier just to draw them as, trying to think of the best way to teach you, and I think actually just to draw it as it is on the sheet will be better, because if I start doing, you're going to get lost if I start doing the lines. So we're just going to draw 1 lace to there, and then we're going to do half a lace to there. We're going to come over this one, and we're going to do half a lace to there. Then this one's going to come over. Okay, at the end of the day, as long as you've got something that looks like laces coming over, here we are, this one will be a bit easier. Just draw that in. I'm trying to get it exactly like on the sheet for you, but actually when I think about it, it'd probably be much easier for me if I just drew it myself. Okay, so yeah, I think we've got the laces done there, that's fine. Just draw some other lines in to make it look like they're crossing over. Perfect. Right, so we're going to come across the next one as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And the first one at the bottom is just that simple one. The second one is another simple one that just comes across. Now the third one is the one that stops there because we've got another large one crossing over it. Okay, then the next one is quite big and there. Then we've got like a little cross underneath. Then we've got a lace that comes underneath here, and then we've got the big one coming across. Okay, this one is from underneath. We've got another one here coming around, and then this one coming over here. So watch me back, go step by step, go slow. Okay, now the one thing I want to change about this is the fact that we now need to make sure any of the laces going over the other side actually form a bump on top of the boots, because if you just have that straight line there, it won't look normal. So I pressed really hard, so I'm just going to get rid of some of that for us so that we can create those bumps on the laces. Again, remember, I'm pressing hard. Please don't do that. You need to press quite nice and gentle so that you can rub out. Okay, there we go. So we've done the laces. As long as you've got something that looks like it's crossing over, don't worry too much, because nobody's going to be looking with the magnifying glass and checking. Okay, so you got some going that way, you got some coming that way. It's fine. As I say, I'm trying to get it exactly like that to help you, but you just don't need to do that. Right, so that's that step done. Next is all about the decoration. So I'm going to get the book so it's in front of me, because there's quite a lot of decoration to do. And this is basically the third and final stage. So firstly, I'm going to come in to all of these high lace holes and draw like a moon shape to the right hand side of those holes. So what we're doing here is trying to create the depth going inside. So I'm just going to draw some lines going backwards. And that is basically our hatching, which shows a bit of shadow. Okay. So then we're going to come in on the flaps here that have the holes in, and we're just going to draw some lines in which show 3D-ness, that try and give it some 3D-ness. So I'm just drawing some lines down. As you can see on the picture, also some curves around the holes, which also gives the impression of movement and 3D-ness. That's all we're doing. We're just trying to describe what's there. Whenever we do any kind of drawing, we're always, with every single mark, we are talking about to the person looking what is in front of us, what we are creating. And we are trying to give the impression of this 3D pair of boots. Okay, and you can already see how those marks bring it to life. I'm going to come around here and up around here, and that's those lines put in. Sorry, I'm looking at the book there. I want to make sure I get it right for you. Now with the laces, there are a lot of lines on the laces where it's scrunching up. That's where you want the lines coming from. So you need to, for instance, here going into the hole is where they're all going to be scrunching up a bit. Yeah, so get some lines in there which shows it's scrunched up, and if you can get some over from the other side as well, because they'll be scrunched up that side, even better. And then that automatically straight away shows the depth that they're being squidged into the holes of the boot. Now in between those, we mustn't forget to keep our line drawn in for where the where this tongue part comes out. So you need to be able to see that, and I don't think I drew it on this one either. Make sure you've got that in there. All right, so you can, as you go through, you think, oh, I forgot that, because you're going through and doing the detail and you can see things more. Now what I'm going to do is come round and also make these look more like holes, because before we were just putting little curves in, but now we really want to actually make them look like they are holes in the boots. Okay, Can you see how it comes together quite quickly? That's what I love about art, is to start with, you think that's never going to look right. Nope. And then all of a sudden, you start adding the final touches and it all starts to make sense. Okay, so going to do the same for the laces here. We're just drawing lines in anywhere you want to put them, just to provide that description of what's in front. We're going to go over it in pen anyway, so you can kind of decide what you want to do, what you want to put where when you come to finish it off. All right, so that's the laces done. Now in between there is some more kind of marking where you can create that idea of movement, particularly around the holes. This is where like light might be shining on it and creating like a little shimmer. Let's make sure we're getting that right. Good. And then we'll come up here. Please, if you haven't already, do subscribe, click the notification bell, like, leave me a comment. That would be awesome. It's a pretty new channel, so I need as much help as I can get, you guys. And I really appreciate you looking. Thank you so much. Okay. And we'll put some lines over on the back as well, because then that shows how that's shimmering. So when we put the lines in on the bottom of the skate, that's more about just providing that feeling of shininess. That's what we're trying to do on that part. But again, I mean, you don't even need to watch me really. You can use my step-by-step sheets which are also all available, not just the printable of the final picture, but the step-by-step sheets are there. They're printable as well, so you can have them at home and you can go along at your own pace. We're going to have a nice, because this is the winter themed set, we're going to put a lovely little snowflake design on the bottom of our boot, which I love. And it's just like little arrow shapes right into the middle, and then we can join up in the middle, make a little star shape, and I think we've got little circles in there as well. Okay, take your time to do all these things. I'm going quite quickly for you guys, and we're going to put just little star kind of shapes here and there, which again just gives the impression of shine and shimmer. Which, you know, these are ice skate boots. You want to have a bit of shimmer. One up there. Is there anything I've missed? I don't think so. I've got another sparkly thing there. Oh, we need to do the front of the boot here, which has got a few sparkly bits too. Okay, so I think that's everything on the boot. Let's get the heel in. So all we're doing here is hatching. And this just gives us a feeling of depth on the boot and that back heel. Then we're going to come in and do the bottom of the boot, just doing lines. Also remember, this is the drawing layer. In a minute we're going to do the pen layer. And we can go over anything that we've made any mistakes on, like I made a bit of a mess of the snowflake. I'm not worried. I'm going to go back with the pen and I'll put it right. So yeah. Also, if you know you're going to go over it in pen, don't worry too much. Just get it how you want it. And as you go back in with the pen, you can come in with some detail. Right, we're going to draw in the triangles. I'm not going to colour them in black. I'll do that with the pen later if I feel I want to. We'll see. And we'll just draw a few of those, however you want. I'm getting it to look like that for you, but I'm not thinking about the preciseness of it, so you don't need to worry about that. But I think that's pretty much it. Now there are lots of dots and things as well, which you can put on in a minute when you use your pens, but I'm not too worried about that. So what you can do right now, if you're not worried about watching me line it in, then you can skip on to either watercolor markers or acrylic paints, or you can stay with me. I'm going to use a micron. I'm going to use a micron 04. I prefer 03. I need to order. They're on the way. So we're going to come in and just line our boots. Apologies for my nails, by the way. They need a new paint. Right, so I'm coming round to do the flap here. And I'm coming down. I'm literally, what I'm going to do as well is show you why I say go over. Sorry, not go over, move your paper around, because really the most comfortable way to draw is to come towards yourself. Okay, come around, and what I'm going to draw is more of the main drawing in. I'm not going to do any of the detail bits, the small detail bits, until the end, because then I'm going to swap pens. And as you can see, as I do this, I'm not necessarily going over my pencil perfectly. I'm just drawing it how I think it should be. I am going to do those little stars because actually they can have a bigger pen. It's these tiny, tiny marks that I'm more worried about, and I think I want to do those with my thinner pen. So I'm just going to go over the laces on the outside edge. I am not going to do the detail yet. I'm going to get a much smaller, finer detail pen. Come around there. I'm going to turn it round again to help me. And I really do suggest you do that with the initial drawing as well as with this one. Remember, just draw them in how you think they should be, because it's your drawing. This is just meant to be fun. I kind of do these activities just so you can sit down at night, just have an idea for your sketchbook or your scrapbooks even, or your journals. It's something nice just to have a little bit of mindfulness time. Being creative is really good for your mental health, and I think we all need that at the moment. Any kind of downtime is welcome at the moment. Well, anyway, always. I am going to do those details in this line, because in this line of pen, because they are just lines and they're not too small. The ones down here are going to be tiny. Okay, that's fine. Right, so now I'm going to come down and do the bottom of the boots. And as I say, now that I'm doing my final copy, I am trying to be a little bit more careful and really think about where I'm doing it and how neat I want it. Any bits I've missed, I think will come down. And what I also recommend is when you're doing lines like this with pen, you put the pen down, you put your wrist down, and you just come in one movement. Don't move your pen or your hand during that process. Okay? Little tip. Going to do the same here. And you can get some really nice straight lines by doing that. Right, coming round, coming round. Just keep moving your paper so that your hand movement is always in that direction. Now, I don't put music on for you guys because I just think you can mute me and watch what I'm doing and put your own music on if you really want to, or rather than mute me, you can keep me on, hear me, hear my instructions, but also have some music on. Gonna come here and put a circle in. Again, I'm not doing the inside detail. I can do these because there's not much around them. They don't need to be too thin lined. And then I'm going to come around and do the main holes around the lace, get those thickened in. I hope you're having fun with this anyway, everybody, and if you do enjoy this, please do subscribe, like, comment, share. In the past, I've been doing these videos separately and putting out 4 a week, but actually I think it's better for everyone if I just kind of put them out all in one go and just give you chapters, and you can find it in the same place, rather than having to go to my channel and find the drawing one and then find the watercolour one separately, or whatever it is you're looking for. It's all in one and you can just skip. Okay, so that's the laces drawn in. I do need to come down again, nearly forgot this bit. This is the bit where you've just got that front bit inside. I'm going to do it here as well. I'm kind of just lifting, putting down, but going still in that kind of movement. I'm just lifting and putting the pen down. Coming down again, all the way down towards my body, and then I'm just going to have to come around a little bit there. Okay, to finish off the top edge of this boot, come around and do the toes. There we go. Good. So we've pretty much done all of the main outlining now. Oh, nearly forgot those other triangles there. Don't want to forget those. I mean, they just kind of give the idea of like old-fashioned, you know, like in the old comic books and stuff when you'd have kapow and things like that. It's just giving the idea that, oh, this is special kind of thing. Right, now I'm going to do the snowflake again, and I'm going to do it a bit more carefully. So we had triangles in between each one that were meeting each other, which mine did not meet very well, so I wanted to do it again. There we go, and there's little curls, little dots on top of each one. It's only because I was trying to be quick, and although I know some of you like it to be quick, others of you would prefer I slow down a bit, so just let me know in the comments if my tutorials are easy enough for you to follow. I'm going to do a little star. It's a line down, across, a zigzag, and then just add a few more in. Across, do some crosses there, and just add a few more in. I'm going to come down and do the line for the boot on the toe. And I think I will use the bigger pen to do the lines on the bottom. I think really I just need the thin liner to do the holes and the shoelaces. Brain fog is clearly having fun with me today. It's part of having fibromyalgia. Okay, so drawing in over all my shading lines. These are what makes it feel as though it's shining, from being a flat thing to being a 3D metal thing. Okay, now we'll do the bottom of the boots, and I am going to go a bit slower than I did when I was drawing, because I want these to be lovely and straight and neat and quite evenly spaced, because if they were on boots then they would be really evenly spaced with whatever product they use, the rubber they use. Okay, so bit of a boring job for you to watch, but if you're following along, doesn't matter, does it? So with my winter themed, these are running through January and February. I always run through all of the exercises that are on my sheets and my books. They're all step by step, and they are all available, as I said, on my website. You'll see the link below. So winter is up till February, and next we've got March, April, and May is a dog theme, so I'm looking forward to doing that. Right, so next we need, I think we'll go as far as a 01. And we'll come in and put the smaller details in that are on the smaller things. So they need to have a smaller nib so that I can get the finer details in. And so I'm just going over, as you can see, what was already there for the holes first of all. And then I'm coming in with the details around on the flap and around the shoelace holes. Okay, right, so now we can put some more details in. Now there are just some little markings like that around those shiny bits, so I'm just going to put some more of those in. Literally, they're like speech marks, just double lines going all the way around. And then we can have here some bumps just showing where the top of that flap will be folding. Oh, I am struggling with my words today, everyone. I think it's the cold weather flares up the fibromyalgia, and so then I can't speak. I'm either in pain or I can't speak. Right, that's the cold weather for you. Anyone else out there with either with an autoimmune or anything like what I have, then you'll know, you'll understand the cold weather does not help. Okay, so that's most of my markings in. Just going over the lace ones now, and it's really good because it's so fine. We can get quite a few of those crease lines in, which I think really make it really help to make it look real. Yep, I think that's done. Right, so the whole thing's done. What I would do now is I'd rub it all out, and then you can, if you've done it on marker paper, you can use your markers. If you've done it on normal paper, you can use your coloured pencils. I mean, you can use markers on normal paper, but I would really recommend marker paper. Buy specialist marker paper if you've got alcohol markers. They just come out so much more vibrant and clean, and they don't bleed through the back of the paper. So, right, we're going to move on then to the next part. So you can either stay with me or click on to watercolours and acrylics. See you in one of those videos, hopefully. Okay, welcome back to the marker part of the set of videos. So I've already done the drawing, and now we're going to head in. We're going to use ohuhu markers that I've got over here. I've got a nice big bag full. What I do is I pick out the colours, the colour scheme, using the swatches that I've made, and decide what colour scheme I want to go with. So first of all, I've picked out a light, medium and dark blue, which I'm going to use for the main part of the boots. And I've picked out a light, a medium and a dark of the grey, because I'm going to use that to create the skate part, which will be metal and shiny. And I'm also going to use the greys just to do the boot and maybe the bottom of the boot here, the heel. I'm thinking of doing a different colour for the laces, but I haven't decided yet. And as I've always said in my videos, I like you to see the whole thing from beginning to end, my thought process, everything. So if this turns out horrible, you see it turn out horrible. It's fine. I'm not worried about making mistakes. I think it's important that you see me go through that process, and hopefully it will be fine. So let's think, where shall we have the light coming from? Maybe we should have the light coming from this side. Maybe from here, so the top will be lighter and it'll be darker as we're going further away. So we're going to go in with our lighter silver first. We're using the brush alcohol markers. So this is the lighter colour. So I'm going to start with the lighter and it'll go darker as it goes further away. So I'm just going to come in really lightly here. We could even leave some bits white, because if it is shinier this end, if it is the light shining from this end, then it will be more like that. So let's have a go at that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get all of my greys ready on the brush end so that I can blend really nicely and quickly. The quicker you are for blending, then the more likely you'll get that nice neat blend. Now to blend, I always try and do these wispy kind of marks. So it's okay for the moment because we don't really want to blend, but about now I think would be a good time to start coming in with a slightly darker grey. As you can see there, I'm trying to get that to blend into the other grey, so it's not just like a sudden change of grey. And I'm probably going to come in with this grey all the way to the back. We can come on with a darker grey afterwards to kind of darken up that end, but I think that's fine. We don't want to do too much with it. We want to keep the light bit light over here. Yeah, so we're going to go again. So this is the lighter one. I might now, because it's kind of hidden underneath, start coming in with that darker one. Now I'm going to blend that through with my lighter one. There we go. And then under here, because we're definitely behind and under the other boot, we can just come in there with the dark, and now we'll bring it to life even more by adding in some really dark grey. Can you see that? It brings it to life. So we're going to do the same here. I'm just going to do that, get my medium and blend that down, because we don't want any stark lines. We want it all really nicely blended. There we go. And we'll get the medium one again. Blend that across. Lovely. So you can get these sheets, you can print them off yourself. If you look on the community tab, all the printables are there. You can either just use the colouring sheet, or you can use it as a traceable, however you want to go with that. I think that's fine. I'm just going to come in underneath the top there, because there will be shadow created from the top of the boot, won't there? So let's put some shadow in there, just at the top, and that shows that. So now they look like shiny boots, which is good. That's what we want. We want shiny boots. So I'm going to come in again on the heel with the lightest one first and just build up the colour of the heel. The heel is just going to be a plain grey colour. It's just the heel. We don't want to fuss too much about that. And then we'll just come in with the corners a bit darker, and then we'll go really dark and just do the back and the corner here. How's that looking? That's fine. I think there, all good. Right, I'm going to come in with the medium grey now to do the bottom of the boot here. I don't really want that to be light. I want that to be quite a dark colour. I want it to be quite separate from the boot. Now remember, these are just the decisions I'm making on mine. You can do whatever you want on yours, and don't forget also I am going quite quickly. You can obviously slow down and go nice and slow and take time, pick your colours. Okay, sorry, it's just moving the light there because it just seemed to be really, really bright on my face. It still is a bit, isn't it? Okay, let's go for now our blue colours. So I'm going to get them ready as well. I've got a nice light blue, a medium blue, a darker blue. So we're always thinking about value. We always think about value from light to dark, because that's what creates the 3D look of all of our designs. So remembering the light's coming from this way, it's going to be lighter on this side and darker on that side. So I'm going to start with the front. Just going to go for it. So let's say we'll go up to about here, and then I think we'll start blending in our other colour. Okay, so we come here and we'll flick in this medium blue. Believe it or not, this is the medium blue. I am going to go over everything because it is just the drawing on there. I'm going to flick in this lighter colour all over that bit where it's kind of just coming down, and we're going to blend that into the lighter area. Can you see how that's blending in nicely now? And we want to make sure that we're coming all the way down like that. Good. So now we want to continue up with our middle colour here. Now remember, they do dry a bit lighter than what you can see, so don't worry. And you should also get to the point where you won't really notice the lines either with alcohol marker. That's the good thing about alcohol markers. Right, so now I'm going to come in with a really dark one. And this is where we just really tighten up the value, where the lights and the darks are. We really emphasize it. The darks, if the darks are really dark, then the lights will look really light. And that is basically, I say it in every video, it's the key to all art. Okay, and I'm going to just come in with a bit, just line some in down there. Yeah, with the same colour where there might be some darkness. And that also gives it that feeling of 3D. Right, so I'm going to come in as well with the medium blue. Okay, and we're going to try and just blend that in a bit more. Okay, get my lighter one. Make sure we're all blended. I want to kind of keep the toe as pale as possible, because we need that to be where the light is. So I don't really want to go down there too much. And I'm just going over everything with my light blue, just to kind of blend it all in. Okay, and that should dry nice. Now I don't know why, but there's a patch there that won't colour. I'm not sure why. Okay, we're going to go in with the light again. Okay, just for the toe, make sure that's all in nice. I might even just go quite far up with this one, just so I know it's all covered. And then we'll get the medium colour in. Now with this, we actually want to be building this up from here, because this is the back. It will be creating shadow a little bit from that front one. Oh, I'm getting pen everywhere here. Try not to do that. I can be a messy artist, because I'm normally going quite quickly to show you. Yeah, so that's created a little bit of shadow down there. And we also need, again, a darker colour down the back here. I'm going to blend that in again with our lighter one. Blend that down. That way it looks a bit more natural. Yeah, good. Okay. So I'm also going to come in where those dark ones are and just layer on some of the lighter blue as well. And I think I need a little bit darker here. Light's coming from that way, so I'm always thinking light's coming from that way. So yeah, we'll come in with some the dark blue here. Lighter here. Okay, good. So now we need to think here around the edge of the boot, and also the tongue there. So I think I want to come back to, see, I've got this kind of aqua colour and I really want to use it, but I'm not sure if it will blend in. I think it won't look right. So we'll come in with a different blue, like an ice blue. Let's do, I think what we'll do is we'll do the flap areas here, kind of in that different blue. It's a nice ice cold blue. After all, this is winter themed sheets that we're all doing, tasks, whatever you want to call them, activities. So I'm going to do that all the way around here. Now I've copied this onto marker paper with micron pens. Sorry, I hope my head isn't getting in the way. With micron pens, and they don't tend to bleed with the alcohol markers. So if you're looking for pens that don't bleed when the alcohol goes over it, I really recommend microns. Okay, so then we'll come over for this one. That's it. Mustn't forget the other one on the other side. I just think with whenever you're colouring anything, you don't want too many different colours. So like I was about to add, like the aqua is like a greeny blue. I think it would have been too different and then it just would have looked garish. You know, you kind of want all your colours to have some kind of blend to them. Right, so I'm coming in over that really cool blue with some of the blue that's in the rest of the boot so that it kind of ties it together. And I'm just going down around where the laces are because they'll be creating a bit of shadow on that other blue. Yeah, and all the way up, and this can have quite a bit on there as well. So we're kind of making it look like it is the whole boot by just giving it that little bit of shadow with the colour that's in the rest of the boot. So I just think it's really important to have that cohesion in anything you do. Bring the colours in all over so that it makes sense to the eye. If there's too many different colours, it can start looking a bit confusing. Now I like to work quite loosely when I'm colouring. Some people like to do realism and be exact, and that's fine. If you want to do that, you can get a picture up and you can study it, but I like to work quickly. I like to produce all my work nice and quickly, so it's up to you what you do. Right, I think I'm going to use that colour again for the tongue part that's going straight down the middle, so we can use that, but then we can also bring in the other blues and it still looks good. I liked the effect. So it's really important, as someone who's creative, as you all are here, otherwise you wouldn't be here, that we experiment and we try different things out. And that's what I like to do on my channel. I like to just think whilst you're there, whilst you're watching me. I don't want to come up with this perfect thing. I want you to see me, have a go, try things, learn together. You know, I have a certain amount of knowledge, but there is so much to learn and to try out in all areas of arts and crafting. And I would never, ever think that I know everything, because I really, really don't. So you all probably know a lot more than me, and that's fine. Some of you may, some of you may not. So again, I'm coming in with that other blue over the blue that's in the rest of it, and just to give it some cohesion with the rest of the picture. Okay, and I'm actually going to splodge some in there because it will be darker, as the shoelaces will be creating that kind of dark feel. Well, I think my experimenting has gone okay. I like what's come about, so that's all good. Just going over the colours now, blending them up a bit more. Happy with that. So laces, I could be really garish and go in with that other aqua colour with the laces, couldn't I? Shall I try it? This is where it could go wrong, but let's see, let's see. I really fancy just having this green in. Oh, it's not so bad. It's not so bad. It actually goes quite well with that ice blue that was there. Now, all I'm going to do for this, first of all, is I'm going to do one layer over all the laces. You know, I'm not precise about, look, you can see I've got white bits. I'm not overly precise. I just like to have fun. And that's what I want you guys to do, is to come along and join me in having some creative mindfulness time. Get your words out, Tash. I'm either not finding my words or getting them all muddled. Right, so now where it's darker, again, I'm going to come over and use the other blue that I have across the picture to blend those laces in with the entire picture. I actually really like that aqua green colour there. It's worked well. We needed something different, definitely. Now, what you can do with all of the projects that I have here, I'm just going to go in for my grey to do inside the holes because it will be dark in there. With all of my designs in the book and on the sheets, they are for you to do and take away and do how you want to do them. You can spend hours on yours. You could bring it into your crafting. You can add gems on this, couldn't you? That would look great, or glitter and things like that. So I do the basis for you, and then I kind of hope you'll go away and show me what you've done. It'd be really exciting to see. What colour should I do those? I feel like they should be like more of a red to say, look at me. Should we do it? Should we ruin the picture now and put red on? Let's do it. That's all right. Like that. It could have gone either way. I think it's all right. I'm quite happy with that. I think they needed to be red to kind of stand out. Excuse that mark there. This is my extra paper. I always have paper underneath my paper. So if I hide that for a minute, then you can get a good look properly. Now you could keep going on and playing with that. I think I really need some dark. I'm not going to use a dark green. I'm going to come in with a darker blue and kind of add that on the laces. I think they needed more definition of value. So it was all just kind of one colour. As you can see, just adding in those lines with the darker colour brings it to life more and makes it feel a bit more real. Honestly, value, it's the most important thing you need to learn when you're learning to paint or draw. Of whatever colour you're using, have a medium and then a light and a dark. And wherever you think there will be shadow, use the dark. Wherever you think there'll be light, use the light. We could actually do something about our snowflake and just go over it like this, just to bring it to life a little bit. And that's where I think you could add the gemstones. You could have some nice little gemstones on that snowflake design. I wonder if I can come in with an even darker colour there and just... So that's where I've dotted in where you would maybe want to put your gemstones. Okay. I think I'm just going to come in again with that very, very dark grey, and just because it really does make a difference, and it putting in the dark value at the end or the light value, either way. So I'm going to come across and just make it look like there's a bit of shadow in the grooves, so that looks a bit more real as well. Remember, I don't do realism. We're just getting some idea and feel of the skates, because that's how I like to work. I love to do nice quick activities. They're fun. You can fit them in your day. If you're feeling creative and you don't know what to do, come on my channel. I have something here for you. I'm only new, but I shall be adding more and more. I will have one video a week, but on each one of those there'll be 4 different tutorials. It'll be the same design but in different mediums, so hopefully no matter what your favorite medium is, there'll be something there for you all. And so now I'm faffing because I'm just having lots of fun with these. As I say, I draw them ready, but I try not to colour them till I'm actually on camera, and this is the first time I've coloured them. So the drawing obviously I had to do to produce the sheets and the book, but the colouring I always love to wait and just experiment whilst I'm talking to you. I think that here, looking at the picture, that's not making sense. That needs to be darker, especially down here because it's the inside of the heel. That's better. And now we need a bit more coming down as well. It wasn't explaining it properly to me. It felt like it was that's better. It wasn't dark enough because it's at the back. It needed to be darker, and the underneath needed to be darker to show that as well. I think we're there. I think we're done. As I say, you can keep playing and keep fiddling around. I mean, look, we can bring the green as well into other parts and just go over. Look, and look how lovely that looks. I don't know if you can see on camera, but there's like a real sense of ombre. Ombre, I think that's how you say it. You know, when you get the colours kind of shading into each other. That's lovely. I like that. Bring a bit more in here. Some more of that green, aqua green and blue. Yeah, now I like it. Now I'm happy. You always get there eventually. It just takes some faffing, but you have to be careful because you can quite easily overwork something and then you ruin it completely. So I think we'll leave it there. If anything, the only thing I would do maybe is come over with the red here and just maybe do some shadowing with the same colour. You don't have to, I mean, it's just me for fussing. And the other thing you could do, because there are on the actual original those markings, you can use maybe the bullet end, but I still like to use the brush end, and come down and just go over them with a colour rather than just leaving them black. And then that also brings them in. I don't think that's dark enough in there. We need to make these really dark. Oh, and another thing you can do, which I also like to do, is gel pens. So I've got a gold, silver and a white here. So the white one, I'm just going to put around there. Can you see? It's the part of the shoelace hole that you can see, so where the light will be. And then what we can do is, because the light's coming from this angle, we can also put some highlights on top of the laces with the white. Okay, now if you feel that's not really enough, it's not doing it for you, you can always use the shiny gel pen. Okay, but I really like to just put in some white highlights just to give it that extra bit of shine. And you just put that wherever you want it. Look, I'm even going to come over these and make these sparkle a bit. Yeah, because they've been darkened out, haven't they? And it's nice to just try and make it show that this is the lighter part. This is where it's shining. And what I'm going to do now is get the silver pen, because I'm faffing now. I am queen of faffing. I'm going to come in and just draw in some of these silver lines. And you can't really see so much on camera, but it just gives them a little bit of a glisten. A little bit. I'm drawing next to the black lines just to give a little bit of extra shine. But again, you can use the stickles. You get the stickles, can't you? Glue, I think. You can see that's really shining a bit on camera there. Just have fun with them. Yeah, not every piece of artwork we have to do is going to be something that we want to put on the wall and go, hey, look at me. Sometimes it's just having that fun, and you can add it to your sketchbook or your sketch folder. I have a folder. I don't have a sketchbook necessarily because I do everything on sheets of paper. So, but it's nice to keep them and look back and think, oh yeah, I remember I had fun with that one. So I'm doing the silver. I think I do actually want to come over some of these shiny stars. We can come in on the red with the silver as well, which works really well. Just gives it that shine. And don't forget, if you've got gems and things like that, that'd be amazing. That would look great. Now I'm definitely going to come over on my snowflake there. You can see that already, can't you, standing out, which I think looks fab. So these are always like my finishing touches. I'll blend in the colours more if I feel it needs it, just to make it more cohesive. And then I'll think, right, gel pens, what can I do with my gel pens? Can I add anything? So I'm just going to do the dots on the snowflake there. Yep, I'm happy with that now. I mean, I could, like I say, I could keep going, but it's up to you where you want to go to, where you want to stop. I'm going to stop there because I've now got to do them in watercolours, and then I've also got to do them in acrylics. So I'm going to stop there, go and have a drink of something to eat. And if you like watercolours and acrylics, I'll see you in the next ones. If not, thank you so much for coming. Please subscribe, like, comment, share, and hopefully I'll see you in next week's video. Take care, everyone. Bye. Hi everyone, so let's just come into this part of the video. We're now going to do the watercolour version of the skates that we drew at the beginning of the video. We've just done the markers, so now it's time for the watercolours. So let's get started. I've got my water, got my watercolours. I just have pans like this. You can get watercolours in tubes, so whatever you have. You'll need some brushes that you can use for watercolours. I keep these separate from my acrylics because acrylics can wreck brushes quite quickly, whereas watercolours are much easier in that respect. You need to have drawn out the image. You don't need all the detail that you have in the original drawing. Just draw the outline of the boots and the bottom of the boots where the blade is. That's all you need. And once I've drawn it out, I like to then go over it and really make it kind of disappear, but enough so I can still see it and paint it. We don't really want a lot of pencil showing with watercolours. We want to keep it in the background and create what we want to create just with the paint. Okay, so that's done. So hopefully you can hardly see anything now. I've got all my paints ready. I also have like a messy old rag that I put on my lap, and if ever I need to dry my brush off or anything else like that, I can use that. Now I've got a big woolly cardigan on. It's so cold here at the moment, and I have put the heating on, but I don't want to put it on too long because it's the cost of living crisis if you're watching this in years to come. 2023 cost of living crisis, right? I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get some water on my brush. I'm going to go for a mid-range kind of sized round, and I'm going to pick up a light blue. I think we'll do the same colours as we did on the other one. I might even get that out to look at actually, because I think that worked out. It worked out really well with all those colours. So let's go for that. Now I do say on all of my videos, everyone, I literally just make it up as I go along. So come join me for some fun. Let's see what happens. I just think it's better for you to learn from me making mistakes. Right, I don't want it too pale, so I'd watered that bit down a bit too much. So I'm going in now. I'm just going to do one layer of pale blue, and I'm starting off with the lighter colours because we can build up the darkness on them. We can't really go the other way with watercolours, lighten up dark. We can't do that. So what I'm going to do is just basically outline where I'm going to put. Let's just get some more light now. The sun's gone. Hang on one second. I have to shut the curtain because the sun was shining right on my face and all over the work and nobody could see it. So let me get some more water. Okay, so I'm going to fill in my boots. There we go. Cool. And I think, you know, we'll do the inside. We'll do it all. Let's do the entire background in that pale blue. And that way we've just got some colour down. Hopefully you can just about make that out. It's a really real kind of like ice blue that I have there in mind. Just use whatever you've got, whatever brushes you have, whatever paints you have. You can do a completely different colour scheme to me. I'm just enjoying the blues on this one. I like the blues on this one. I do have some glitter watercolour paints as well, some pearlescent ones. So I've got them out. We might use them, we might not. I don't know. So we'll see as we go along. Right, next. I'm going to go in and I want a slightly darker version of that blue. And I am going to come down. Now what I like about watercolour is that it does its own thing. Now I'm going down all over where the laces are because it will be able to go over that with like a darker, a bit too much, let's get some more water, a darker colour for the laces. Once it's dried, we can go over the top and bring the laces in. So there we go. Now remember, it's watercolour. Watercolour paintings are usually very loose. That's why I like watercolour paintings. Now what I'm going to do is just come up here and start to bring in some of the colour in more of its vibrancy to the side of the boot. Now I want to leave where the laces are quite pale because I want the laces to actually stand out. Just going to move that a bit. What happened there? Right, so is that dry? Yeah. I'm going to come in and get some more of that blue again. I'm coming mostly straight out of the block of paint. I'm not worrying about adding too much water, and I'm just going to lift that all the way up in the direction. I always paint in the direction that I think the movement is, and the shape of the boot to me kind of sweeps up like that and down. So we've got that kind of motion, and then if it dries like that with those markings, it doesn't matter because that actually adds to it. Right, let's give that a dry so I don't smudge anything. Okay, so that's all dry. Hopefully that cut out for you the sound. It should do anyway. Right, so I'm going to continue layering now, just to create the colour of the boots and maybe the flap here. I think what we'll do with that blue is we'll keep that to the tongue and around where the shoe holes are. So we'll come around there like that. I'm being a bit more precise, but I'm keeping my my bigger brush because I don't really want to be really too precise. You'll know from me that I like quite loose paintings, not too much detail. And I am bringing some of that colour in, a bit darker down there. Okay, I'm going to do the same here. Let's bring that darker colour in on there, and then maybe just across the front a little bit where the laces are. And I think just down here a little bit as well. Okay, so you can start to see the shape of boots coming together. I'm going to dry that layer as well. So in between every layer, I try and dry. I've got a craft dry gun thing, heat gun, heat tool. Hair dry will do, whatever you can get hold of. Oops, that's definitely not dry. Okay, focus on the side of the boots now, and we're going to go into a darker blue. I'm just going to mix some up. So I'm just picking up the blue, and all I'm doing is adding the water to it. So you can see that it's just a watery blue, but it's a darker version. So there's, if I'm just trying to put the colour down for the first go, I really only want to be using it like that with water rather than straight out of the paint block, because we don't want it to be too dark to begin with. Sorry, make sure that's in the camera for you. Yeah, the screen looks as though it's gone quite dark, but it's really greyed over in the sky, so that might be something to do with it. So I'm just trying to bring in that slightly darker colour, remembering that the light is kind of coming this way. Those of you that watched the previous video, I'm kind of having the light come from this way, so it's much darker over here. Now I'm going to come in and pick up some of that colour directly from the block and blend that in with what's already down there. Yeah, I'm just going to sweep that down. And I'm going to pick up some more, so just a little bit of water on my brush. I want mostly pigment, I want hardly any water at all. There we are, we've got some of that richness coming in now. So I'm just going to pull that down along here to show that it's darker over here and it was lighter there. Okay, the way we build up 3D-ness is by having very, very clear lights and darks. Okay, so I'm going to put some dark at the bottom because that is actually, there will be darkness at the bottom where it kind of, the boot's giving its own shadow to itself, so that's why I've done some there as well. Now this back one will be quite dark, so I'm going to come in down here and make sure that that's really dark. Okay, and again I want some more vibrancy in there. Let's get that dark, really dark. Yeah, I like that. Now, don't worry. I realise you're probably thinking, what's she doing? It will come together in the end. Every painting has that strange, ugly stage where you don't really know what's going on, but it will be fine. I promise you. It will be fine. Let's get that dried. Okay, so we need to go over it again, making sure there's just a little bit of water on, and we're mainly picking up pigment. Let's go in for the darkest vibes now, our darkest shades. So as I've said before in my other videos, we need to work on the basis of value in order to give us our depth, our 3D-ness. Okay, you need a light, medium, dark, and that will really help to bring all of your work to life, whatever you're doing. As long as you can get those different values in, it should be good. Okay, so I'm looking back at the one I did in markers, so that's the kind of look that I want to go for eventually, and I'm just thinking about what I want to do next. So I'm quite happy with how the boots are. I like the fact that there's light here, but I think this might be a bit too light, so I'm going to come in and just darken the side up a little bit. Try and make sure that there's not too much of a difference between the darker end. Oh, I don't know what happened there. I seem to have picked up a dark colour from somewhere. Okay, and I just wanted to make sure that it was needed to be lighter, but not that light. Okay, now we need to go in now and start building up the inside where the laces are, I think. So I'm going to a smaller round. This is a 4, but really I mentioned the sizes, but don't worry about it. Small, medium, large, you know, it doesn't really matter. Just use what you've got. So what should I do? No, I'm going to come in with the aqua green. Actually, I was going to go in with the blue, but I'm going to mark in. I've got a lovely aqua green. Let's see if it's going to show up as aqua green. Ish. I've got a better one than that in here. No, not really. Right, so I'm going to come in with what is as close to aqua green as I can get. So this is the first lace here. So I got them a bit wrong. This is going to be tricky to get it exactly as it should be in the picture. Now I'm looking at the drawing, so if you've got the drawing with you, the printable that I've talked about in my other videos, yeah, go to the community tab and download. Just be looking to roughly where the laces are. Don't have to worry too much, Remember, this is a level 3 drawing, so they do get trickier. But as long as you're getting the, can you see, as long as you're getting the general idea that, oh, there's some laces here, then that's fine. Just gonna bubble them up at the end rather than having a point. And then there's another one here, and I think we've got it. But again, I'm doing a really lovely loose watercolour picture. We don't have to worry too much, right? Just making sure I've got the bobbly bits in at the end so they come out a bit higher than the boot, because after all they are laces and they will stick out a bit on top of the boot. Okay, so that's that one. Again, remember, this is the ugly stage, it will get better. There. Okay, so going to go in with a mixture, I think, of that blue and that green. It hasn't really changed much, to be honest. Let's just try it. Let's just try it. I want to come up. Yeah, that's nice. And build this tongue bit up now. I'll come in quite dark now, because this is where the tongue of the boot is, so we need to get that a bit darker down the bottom as it is on this one. As you can see, I'm going from my marker pen one. Need a bit more water on that, just a bit more. There we go, and spread it around. So if you ever put down paint and you think, oh, that's a bit too much for the time being, then just get some more water and blend it out. Okay, I'm going to come in with quite a pale grey. I just wanted to start with, I just want to mark out where these holes are. Okay, just like that, and then I'm going to come round and again very loosely marking in where the laces are going into a hole, very, very loosely. Okay. Oh, that's what I love about watercolours. They're just so lovely and loose, and you can have a bit more fun without worrying about too much of the detail. Right, I'm going to pick up some more of that grey, and I'm going to come in and start filling in the bottom of the boot now. So that goes up and to there. Now, in all honesty, that should be darker at the back, so let's fill that in a bit more. So it's going narrower at the back and darker. At the moment, that's just one colour, that's fine. And I'm going to have to come in and tidy up the toe part with the blue, because I haven't quite got right down to the toe, and it looks like the toe is separate from everything else. Let's go in and just tidy that up. That's nice, and we can come in again and put some more underneath colour there. And I think, do you know what, I'm going to go in and do the whole of that piece there that's around the shoelaces in that pale blue, and then bring it all the way up to the top. Let's get a bit more water. Nice. Right, do the same here. Okay, we can afford to come in and be darker on this one at the back. So let's go in and start to darken up now. As you can see, it starts to come to life a little bit. A little bit. And I think I've missed here the green. Let's get quite a bit of that green on there now. I want to go in. I'm going to start doing some of the darker bits. Yeah, and that's how we start to get some of the 3D effect. So we'll come up like that there. And that just shows a bit of movement in those, the tongue part of the skate boots. Let's get itchy nose. My son's just come home from school with a cold. Like, am I getting it? I hope not. Okay, coming up around there. Here we go. Yeah, and just filling in some of the gaps really loosely, just tapping away until I'm happy that it's starting to look like how it should. Okay, now I'm going to come in again with the green, but it's going to be mostly pigment. I don't want too much water, and I'm going to kind of come in so that I'm coming over with those laces a bit more, and also making them look a bit more crisscrossed. Can you see? So they weren't looking very crisscrossed, so I'm just going to come in again and just cross over some of them. You know, we're doing it loosely. We don't need to know where every strap is. And then what I'm going to do is come in with, I think, the darker blue. We'll dry it first. Dry it first. So I'm going to come in with, did say the darker blue, didn't I? Yeah, let's do it. Let's see how this goes. So on the marker picture that I did before, on the straps, we did the shade in the slightly darker blue. So we could do some of that and just help bring some of those laces to life a bit. That's great. And it just creates a little bit of something extra to kind of describe what's happening. As I always say, any painting, any drawing, anything we put down is kind of just trying to explain to who's looking at it what's happening. So there we are. That's given the laces a bit of depth. So what we need to do now is come up here with that darker blue and just blend some of that up as well. Okay, and then that also creates the depth on the tongue of the shoe. The only thing I will say is that I've missed this strap here from all of that. I don't want to miss that one out because that's the top one that's kind of holding that shoe tongue in place, and this needs to be darkened up a bit more as well to match the other one. Good, right, gonna come in and dry. Okay, so I also need to do the similar thing, but I'm just going to come in like that on the kind of outside flaps of the boot here, and this kind of just, and then I'm going to go also around where the shoe holes are, and we're just creating a little bit of shadow there, a little bit of interest. And we can do the same here. It doesn't need to be like in black or anything like that, just that contrasting colour is enough to kind of make it look real. I'm just kind of also drawing in some of those lines that we have in pencil, but just doing it with that darker colour just to help bring it to life a little bit. So hopefully the picture is starting to make a bit of sense now. So we need to come in here with that darker colour again, because we couldn't really see the difference on that one between that there and the tongue. So it was important to get that right. So I'm also coming in again with the darker colour. Let's really darken up this back bit now. Can you see now how the different shades of value, the different darks and lights are really helping to make it 3D. It really does. And don't be afraid of those really dark colours like I'm putting on now. When you step back from it and look, you'll see that it's just what it needed. Okay, and then I'm just roughly scrumbling it in. Scumbling, not scrumbling. There we go. Okay, and then I think what we'll do is we'll get some more of that dark and come in. This is why I like to layer, because I want to make sure I'm getting the right colour, but I don't want to put dark down too quickly because we might not need it to be that dark. So if we're just layering as we go, that's better. That boot then looks a bit more darker there in the background because it's getting a bit of shadow from that one. And the bottom will naturally be darker than the top. So I'm also going to kind of bring some of that in as well. Overlap that grey a bit. Right, I'm going to come in again, but this time with black because, sorry, come in on the bottom of the boots because I feel as though it's a bit too pale. And it's like a red, what I call a reddy grey, and I don't really want that. I want more of a black colour. Still quite light. I'm going to come in with more paint. There we go. That's better. Okay, and now I am just going to get the water because I want to blend that down. I don't want it to be that dark all the way along, but I do want it to be dark there. It's better. It's a bit darker at the back, isn't it? Yeah, it's much darker at the back now. That is what I was looking for. But in the meantime, I think I have created like a little bump here that I don't want in the boot. Can you see here? It just seems to go up and it shouldn't. I don't want that. So we're going to have to even that out somehow. It's a bit better. Okay, and we'll do a bit more here. I think it needs to be darker here because it's behind again. We don't want any blobs, so push all the blobs around. Okay. And I think what we'll do is also just bring that around a little bit. Okay. We are getting there. I'm happy with that. Now, whilst I've still got that black on my brush, I'm going to come in and create that shadow, which is the holes there. And I am going to come in with a bit more here as well, just to create that depth where the shoelaces are going in. If it's really, really dark, then it will feel like they are actually popping out of those holes. That's good. Right, I'm coming straight into the black again, and this does need to be much darker, and I'll try and blend it in that way. That's better. And the same with this one. There. Perfect. Right, so now we need to come down to the heel, and this part of the heel actually is pretty dark because that is underneath the boot. So we just want to leave that quite dark, but too much water down, guys, so that's why I always have the rag. Make sure your brush isn't too wet. So I've taken all the pigment away with me as well. Right, so there, that's the first part of the heel done. I'm going to dry that before I do the next part. starting here and coming down is the outside edge. So I'm just going to go over it in one colour like that. Then I'm going to bring the black right in and just kind of fade it down. Can you see? So that it does look really dark. And then I'm going to come underneath and really start to blacken out that bit there that's underneath, so you can see that that's a heel. Yeah, and that's a darker bit there. Okay, so we've got the heel done. Now it's time to do the skates. So for this we really do just want a very pale grey, because we're trying to make it look like shiny metal, so it needs to be built up from a very pale grey. So a very watered down grey is what we need. So excuse me, keep going off camera, I'm just getting the paint sorted. So it's a very, 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 very watery grey. So I'm going to work my way round, first of all, the back one there. And I can see that going off there. Okay, and it's really pale. There's no way that will stay that pale, because I really need that to be even darker than the front one, which is actually coming out darker. So we need to get in there and really darken that up. Yeah, perfect. Right, so I'm going to come in again with another layer and just kind of shape up that back one a bit more. Like that. I have just added a bit more grey to my brush without adding water, so it'll be quite dark now. So that's the other one that's disappearing behind the other one. Get a bit more water, it's a bit too dry. There we go. So just getting that background one in. Good. And I actually just want that to be pushed in the background to be that dark. Now the front one, really you're going to have a bit more darker underneath there like that, but otherwise we want to try and keep it pale to give it that shiny look. The back is going to be much darker, but then here is just generally working across, it's going to get darker and darker. So I'm going to come now this way, just added some more on my brush, and I'm kind of just going to lead it that way. This is going to be dark here as well because it's towards the back, not getting that much light. We'll let that dry now so we can add some more. In all honesty, I don't really want to darken them up too much because I want them to have the sense that they're metal and they're shiny, and if we darken it too much it will take that away. So I'm just coming in now with some almost like these little lines, and these will help to make it feel like it's shiny, if you know what I mean. It kind of gives that feeling of, and it's just giving that feeling of shine. There we go. So I think we're pretty much done on the basics. So now it would just be up to you really how far you took it, how far you went with it. I'm just going to come in here and round that off a bit more. I didn't feel as though it was very round there. We could keep going in and just add in more dark to really emphasize the light more. Let's do a bit of that. And then what I like to do is to come in with, same as I do with my marker ones, is I like to come in with And the way I'm painting now is I'm flicking, I'm basically, because I want it to blend, I'm flicking the paint down the picture, and that helps to blend it when it's dry, because it becomes less pigmented, less watery as you flick it down. I'm going to add just a little bit in there, loosen that up a bit. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. This bit here is annoying me. This bit here, let me just try and get some of that blue. It just didn't feel like the shoe was meeting its base. There was a bit there that just didn't feel right, so let's do that. Happy with that. Let's just get an overall wash, I think, of that blue on top of the green. That's better. It felt like it was more green than blue. Right, I am going to come in directly with that green, because I just want to do a bit more to bring those laces kind of around and a bit higher up onto that other boot. I think that's a bit better. Slightly. I know, I can see. You know, we all have different judgments on what we like and don't like, and that's the thing about it, you know, just enjoy it more than anything. So I will go in directly now with a really small brush and darken up places that I want to be really dark. So this is just black on my detail brush, and I literally am doing the darkest values, which will also help it to come to life. We don't want too much water on it, otherwise it will splurge everywhere and it won't go where you want it. You want mainly pigment here, and put it wherever you think you need some darkness. So I might think, oh, I want some right here, and I'm just going to bring a bit of really dark up, and that's okay. Yeah, we've got some dark in there. And I might think, oh, I need some dark in here, because there'll be shadow in there. So again, I'm coming round, just doing where the laces are. Get a bit more paint on my brush, and I'm coming up here. There we go. Put in a bit more shadow in that one as well. Maybe just a little bit up here. And then of course where it's really black under here, I need to get that done. And then here I just want to come down where the real shadow is, but I still want a little bit there. And then here, even though it's not grey, it's like silver, if I have that darker bit there, it helps to emphasize the fact that everything else is lighter, because it is so dark. So do that. Make sure they're all different lengths and shades. I need a bit more water on my brush quickly. Oh. I don't want too much water, but I don't want, you know, I don't want to not have enough. Can't win. And then I'm going to put some coming across like that. There, now that's really starting to bring it to life, isn't it? It's always your darkest and lightest values that really matter and help to make it pop. You've got to get them in there. I even think like a really tiny little black line there where the fabric of the boot meets the bottom would be really good. Now what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to come in and draw some of those little straight lines. So I've got a tiny detail brush. I've got very little water and mainly paint. As you can see, it's starting to get a bit more faint, so I'm going in again. Mainly paint straight off of the paint block. Okay, and I'm coming all the way up there. All right, I'm going to do again here and the back one. I also need to come in there and darken this one up a bit. There we go. What we can do is also just, I think, have a few little markings going across there like that. Too dry, too dry, too dry, too dry. Let's get it a bit better. So we want to have some kind of lines here that will help to create the shimmer. But really, I'm just playing now. I'm just making it up as I go along. So do what you want, stop when you want. I am now going to come in probably with some gel pens as well. Let me just get comfy. I'm sliding further away for some reason. Yeah, so what I might do as well is just pop some of those in as well, where there might be a bit of deep crevices where the shoelaces have been, and also where the tongue meets the bottom of the shoe here. Give that a bit of a darkened area as well. This has been fun. Okay, so now I've got sparkly stuff. So on the actual original image on the boots, there were like little stars. So I'm going to put them on in glitter. It's like a glitter gel pen, like a silver one. I thought that would be fun. I did it on the last one and I thought, well, we can do that on watercolour. That's fine. We can do that. We can do that. It's our painting, so we can do whatever we want. And it has a little snowflake as well, so let's draw that in. And it had little sections in the middle, like so, with little dots. Hopefully you can see that. I'm literally just copying it off of that drawing. Remember, you can download it from the community tab. And then I'm just going from this, from what I did earlier, looking at the colours because I liked it. It turned out really well. I'm happy with that. Some more sparkly bits here. Maybe one up here. And then we can come round and, if we want to, put some more sparkly bits wherever we want. I just love how gel pens finish pictures off. It's really, really nice how they do that. What I could do actually with that as well is come in across the bottom and create some light as well in between the dark by just adding some silver lines. Remember, these activities, I aim for them to be quite quick. Things you can do as mindfulness activities, things you can do just to fit in your day if you've got a bit of time and you're feeling creative. They're aimed to be quite easy in that respect. I'm going to get my detail brush again if I can find it. There it is. And I'm going to just come in on the laces. I'm still not happy with the laces, so I think what I needed was just to do some detail brush marks. Like that, kind of like, so we've got a bit of crossing over. It was kind of just annoying me that they just look like blobs. That makes sense. So now we've got a bit of line to it. And we'll go straight into the blue as well, and because we had some really good shading using the blue, and then it kind of just disappeared, and that's helping to give that 3D effect as well of the laces, just by having that guided along. they actually don't have anywhere to go. Maybe that's why that looks a bit confused. Let's get that in there. I'm looking at it on the screen because sometimes when you look at the screen, it helps. It's almost like stepping back and not looking at the actual thing. You're looking at a picture on the wall of it, and you can see where there's any places where you haven't been that you should have done. But I think we're going to stop there because I'll be fiddling and faffing with it for ages. You can, if you want, to add in like the red little decorations, but I'm just going to leave them as they are because I'm really happy with as they are. Now, I hope you enjoyed that. Please do subscribe, like, comment and share, and click that notification bell to hear from my videos. There will be probably one a week from now on, but all the different mediums will be on there, but I'll chapter it. The next one is acrylic, so if you've watched all the way through, well done, you're amazing. I shall pause you now and get ready for the acrylics. See you in that one. Okay, so it's time to get on with the acrylic version of painting the ski boots. Hopefully you will have seen from this video, it's a 4-in-1 video. So first of all, you can get the printouts from the community tab, and we've done a marker version, we've just done the plain drawing version, and we've done a watercolor. So now we're going to have a go at some acrylic paintings. So I've got a mixture of blues out because I want to stick to the theme of blue. I'm enjoying that. So I'm going to have that to the side so that I can just look back at what I did with the markers. It worked out well. So I've got a range of colours. In the markers one, we use a darker blue, a mid-tone blue and a very light one. We also introduced like an aqua bluey green colour as well. We used some greys to try and get the silver of the boots, and that's it really. I mean, I probably won't do these things, the red things, but it was fine with the marker pen. So let's just get started, shall we? I've got some angle brushes. They are just what I like to paint with, especially when I've got some detail to do and I need to get in. They're just nice curved lines, straight lines, love them. So yeah, that's what I use most. If I change my brushes, I will let you know. And I've got ultramarine blue, I've got cobalt blue, no, cerulean blue, ultramarine blue, phthalo green, and I've got this gorgeous deep turquoise. It's like an aquamarine colour. It's called deep turquoise. Okay, so let's get started. We're going to go for the bigger brush first of all, and we're going to start, I think, with just doing the sides of the boots. Let's do that first of all. Now with these videos, you'll see my brain's ticking because I do not practice these. These aren't perfected tutorials. I want you to see how I do it, see how I process my thoughts, and I think that will help you more than anything really, is seeing how I do it from scratch with the knowledge that I already have. So the sun, we're going to see the light source is coming from this direction, so it's going to be darker as it's going to the back. As you can see, that's what I've done with these, lighter and darker, and this one's a bit darker because it's behind that one. So I'm always just thinking about what's in front of what and where is the light source coming, and that's what's really important. And we need 3 values of colour basically. So I'm just literally going to come straight in. I think that might be a bit watery, with some of this pale blue. I actually had this mixed up from last week. A lot of what I'm doing at the moment is cold, it's wintry. This is from the winter themed book, so it really does just everything seems to be blue that I'm doing. It just has that cold feel, doesn't it, blue? So I'm going to come up to about here, and then I think I'm going to start mixing in a little bit of the cerulean blue just to come up. And I'm just mixing it on the page because I think that looks cute. You would get a nice good mix then. Mixing it on the page. We want to have like an area where it's getting slowly but surely darker. And don't forget with acrylics as well, if you make a mistake, don't worry about it because you can go over it. At the moment my brush was a bit too dry. That's better. It wasn't flowing, so if ever you find that your brush isn't really flowing and the paint's not coming off very well off your brush, then you need more water. There's a very fine line with acrylics. You don't want to have too much water. Coming here with a lighter one again because I felt like it was getting darkened up a bit too much, but we can go back over that in a minute. We don't want to keep going over it while it's wet, otherwise we'll end up lifting the paint. So I'm going to come in with almost pure cerulean now, and I just want to get the darkest value in up the top. Okay, so although I am doing the first coat, the first layer, there will be many other layers. I am kind of starting to get my value in. All right, so that's the first edge of the first boot done. I'm going to go in and get my lighter blue again. Now, some of my paints, particularly what I've got here, is kind of a student grade paint, and they're quite transparent. They don't have as much pigment, so we may have to go over it a few times, but that's okay. We can do that. And then we're going to come in with a cobalt. And actually we can be quite dark on this one because it's behind that other one. We can come down. Can you see how the edge of the angle brush works really well in this situation? Because we want to really kind of guide it round those lines. I'm going to try and keep those shoelace marks quite clear. I don't want to go over them too much. I want to make sure I can see what's going on. Okay, and then I'm just going to come and bring that round. There. Okay. And again, we can come back and lighten up the front anyway. We're just getting our base colours down. You don't need to make sure that it's perfectly blended at this stage. Just going to get my lap rug out. I always have an old tea towel on my lap so that I can just wiggle my brushes on it. And then they come out clean. Okay, so let's do... I didn't draw that line in, but I'm going to do that now. Right. I'm going to put some of... what was the turquoise colour? I've mixed in a bit of white, so it's kind of like a pastel version. And what I want to do is kind of draw in where the underneath of and the side of this one will be, and I'm going to use a separate colour so that I can see where I'm going. Okay. Now remember, this is not really, this isn't really an art piece, it's an illustration, it's not really a painting. So we are being careful to make sure we can see the finer details underneath. Very often with a painting, I'll do a layer, then I'll do another layer, then I'll do another layer. But when I'm doing illustrations like this, I draw it first, and then I come in with the detail and make sure I can see the detail, and I go round the detail. Whereas I don't tend to do that as much when I'm painting. It's more layering and layering and layering. But with illustrations like this, it's much easier to keep the original image and drawings there so you can see where you're painting. When it's this kind of detailed anyway. I think that's the point I'm trying to make when you're doing finer detail illustrations. Again, you know, they're the same boots, so wherever we've put that colour, it's got to come again on the other one. Now I'm just using, the other thing I love about angle brushes is I'm just using the end, and that's just kind of drawing in where I need to go. And then when I need to flip it around to do the sweep, I've got the long, can you see that? Sorry, I've got the long part of it there to do that. Again, just loading my brush, coming in, doing these in between bits. Remember, this is just the first coat, the first layer, whatever you want to call it, doesn't matter. So it doesn't have to be perfect. We're just trying to block in the different sections of the painting so that we know exactly what's where, what the main colours are. We can actually go over the shoelace holes there. I can still see them underneath. And we'll come in and do that one over there. Didn't do that one there, did I? There we go. Okay, so that's basically, I need to do that a bit higher coming down. That's better. So hopefully you can see from the picture on the screen of what I'm aiming for, and this is the picture next to me that I did in markers that I'm aiming for. So yep, that's fine, and this bit needs to be coloured in a bit there. Okay, so we've got the main colours of the boot down, which is all good. Now we'll go for a smaller brush again. We need a nice tiny brush, so I'm going even for the short handled one because it's much easier when you're trying to get in with detail to do that. So what I want to do is come in with my laces, which are a slightly darkened version of what we've already put down. Ooh, picked up blue there, we don't want that. We do want it in a minute, but not yet. Okay, so I'm just trying to get in now with the darker colour, the shape of the laces. And I'm literally, I don't know why, but I keep picking up that blue and it's really annoying. It's just so close. I've got two colours in my pad over there. I haven't got a camera to be able to show you, another camera, but yeah, the blue and the turquoise, they're really close together. Right, let's get more paint on my brush. Again, if you know that your brush isn't really putting the paint down very well, you might need to get some more water, which just acts as like a fluid to make the acrylic not quite so thick, so it goes down a bit easier. Yep, that's good. Remember, this is just the first layer, so be gentle with yourself about it. The joy of acrylics, unlike watercolours, is that we can repair mistakes quite easily. Oh, excuse me, itchy eye. Okay. There we go, there's another one and another one. There. So it just kind of gives the impression, hey, there's laces here. I'm going to go that way as well, and I'm going to use that point to kind of finish off on that side as well. So we had the nice point on the other side, but we didn't have it on this side. Sorry, there's something in my eye, really itching my eye, and I don't know what it is. Okay, so need some water. Right, so let's just try and get that shape in. Don't forget, we'll come round and tidy up the end of that side in a minute. Just making sure as I lay down the paint that it's all kind of going in the right direction. It's how I want it. Right, let's go this way now. Make sure, because in a minute we'll draw the holes and everything that they're coming out of, but for the moment we just want to make sure that we've got slithers of laces here, there and everywhere. And I think that's it. Let's kind of join these up a little bit. There we go. Perfect. Okay, now in between all that, we're going to go for the light blue that we had before. Might just darken it up a little bit. There we go, and that's going to go in between. Okay, because that's the tongue part of the boot, and the basic background layer of the tongue is that it's that kind of mid blue. So we need to make sure we've got that going all the way up underneath. I'm just being careful to try not to get it anywhere else, but at the end of the day we can repair mistakes, as I've said before, as we go along. Anything that we don't like or we want to change, we can do after we've done like a full first layer. We just want to get that shape in first. Just going to twist it round so I can come across the top cleanly, come around here and down. Oops, picked up the wrong colour there. Doesn't matter, just means there's different tonal value in there already, and that's fine. And just need to make sure it's blended in though a little bit. Okay, there we go. All right, so we're getting there with the base colours of our picture. Just carry on, do the other side exactly the same as I did that side. So I'm just painting in the tongue area of the boot. I'm going to twist it round so I can get my brush in. Okay, I'm going to get in there because there's a little round bit there, as you can see on the drawing. Now what I would recommend you do with these videos is maybe watch them all the way through first. I know that's what I did when I was learning to paint. I always like to watch everything all the way through first, and then I'd go back to the beginning and yeah, take it step by step. But I had an idea then of where it was going, and I felt more comfortable about stopping and starting it and being a bit more in the flow with it, instead of like, oh, I've got to do this now. Oh, I knew what was coming. So I was prepared in my head for what was coming. So I am just going, while I've got the colour on my brush, where it's dried, I am just going over it again. Just gives us another a decent base layer. So I am going to come in again with the same colour, just bring some of that lighter blue up a little bit and go over it again at the bottom. Oops, there's a lot on my brush there. Sorry, I keep going off screen, don't I? I have a habit of doing that. Okay. So now what I need to do is kind of like make that join up a little bit, because now at the moment they look like separate boots. Now what I can do at the end is go over it with white as well and really lighten it up. At the moment I'm happy just to get the idea of the colours we want. Okay, so it's starting to come together. They're starting to look like boots. Yay. Okay. So now I do need a round brush of some sort, so I'm off camera just looking for my round. Where are my rounds? There they are. Okay, so I've got a nice little round here, and all I'm going to do with this is make a little grey colour, and that's where I can start thinking about doing the bottoms of the skate. But also I'm just going to come in with my round. Oh, very clean and tidy. I'm going to come in with my round and try and draw in some nice little circles. Okay, just using the end of my brush to go round and round. Now at the moment it's just grey. You can see that it's just grey, and that's fine. We'll be coming in and lightening and darkening those in a moment. We'll see that mix is a bit lighter. Just go over that one. I'm almost just dabbing it down now. There we go. So you can hardly see it. That's fine. Again, as I said, our first layers are just kind of putting the mid-tone down, and then we can work from there, lightening and darkening. So I'm going to come back in again with a smallish angled brush so that we can start to do the bottom here. I am going to mix up some grey of varying values, so that can help us to create the effect of silver, just using the different greys. So what I've done is I've started with a lot of black, a little bit of white, and then I've made a line going down and show you. Can you see that? See? all the way. I've made a grayscale from a very dark grey all the way down to practically white. So I'm just finishing that off very quickly, and I'm going to start with kind of, yeah, like it's a light grey, but it's like a mid-light grey. We can come over this afterwards then, because we've got the mid colour with some more kind of dark values and some lighter values. But if we get this mid colour down first, mid value, sorry, we know the colour is grey, it's the mid value, we can start to then darken and lighten and bring it to life. So let's get that around there. Let's do the bottom of the boot as well while we're at it. Get some more water a minute. We want the brush to flow. We don't want it to feel like it's kind of stuck and not releasing paint. There we are. So you want to get a nice flow going. We're coming round again. It's just the mid grey, and then we can decide what to do with it afterwards, whether we want to go lighter or darker. We can decide then. Okay, so coming down, and literally I'm just filling in the skate part at the bottom. So just do that, and when you've done that, then we'll start to go in and start making it a nice painting rather than an ugly one, because we're at the ugly stage. Definitely at the ugly stage of the painting. Okay, I'm going to come in with quite dark for the heel, because I know it's going to be dark anyway, so I can go straight in with that. There we go. And slightly lighter grey here, and again we can add in the light and darker parts of that afterwards. Okay, and there we have it. Right, so I'm just going to come in and just draw those jaggedy bits, because I didn't do a very good job of that. Perfect. Okay, now because the main part of the shoes will have dried, I'm going to come back and work on the shoes again. Let's see, let's use the brush that I started with again. So I'm going to get some more white and really lighten up the front of the boots, because that's kind of where I want the lights to be, is coming in this direction. So this will be a much lighter blue, so we need to get that in. Let's just kind of round it a bit more, it's looking a bit too much. Right, and now I'm just kind of going to start blending it this way with the slightly darker colour. And then we can kind of get it blending all the way up. A bit more of the white one. There we go. Great. So we'll get that blending up. Get some more of that mid-range, and it will start to blend in, cover all the white gaps with our second coat, and it will start to make a bit more sense. So I'm just lightly brushing over that to help do a nice blend there from the back, from the front up to the back. And then when I come to the back, I'm going to just come in with that mid one, that mid-range blue, mid-value. And it doesn't matter with these, you know, if there's a little bit of a lighter colour in it or it's a little bit darker, it doesn't matter, because it could be where the light's shining on the boot. Don't worry too much, we're not going for realism or anything like that. We're just having some fun. Enjoy it, don't worry about it. I actually started off acrylic painting before I did anything else, and actually now I find it the trickiest. And I always save it till last. I should do it first, really, shouldn't I? Okay. Get some of that mid-range colour again. Just want to come over here, and that didn't look right. That's better. Okay. So I'm now going to do the same. I'm going to darken up this bit at the bottom, I think. And then we'll just, as the light might be hitting the top, bring that down. And I'm going to tidy up the top as much as I can and bring in some of the light. Hopefully that makes sense. I'm actually going to get some white to make it even lighter and blend it down. I like to do that. It often works really well. There you go. I like that. Nice and light there. And then we get the darker one and come up again. Good. So that's all blended in beautifully. Happy with that. Right, so now I'm going to come in again with, mix up some lighter and do the same here. Lighter from the top, and then work my way down to the bottom. There we go. And then we'll get even darker as we go down towards the bottom. Let me just blend those in a bit now. Trying to get that happy medium between not having too much light and then having enough. Okay, I think that's okay. Right. So now I'm going to come in and just paint the round toe of the back one a little bit lighter as well, because that will have some light on it. And then I'm just going to come in, no, it's not too dark enough, come in with the cerulean blue, just the plain cerulean blue, not mixed with anything. I do love cerulean blue. And we're just going to come around there and sweep it round. It's going to be quite dark in there because it's up against the other boot, which is creating that little bit of shadow. And I think that's it. Oh, I've got sniffles. My son's sniffling away and I'm sniffling away. Not good. Okay, so I'm just going underneath here with a bit of a darker colour, because I sometimes think like there's going to be a bit of shadow where the fabric of the boot meets the bottom. Just a very fine shadow where the bottom meets, you know what I mean, where it tucks in into the sole. Okay, so that's the main part of those boots done. What I want to do is mix up some more, I think, of this light aqua colour. And I think what we'll do is just come round and create just some fun with it. Just have some fun, just dab it in places. Just to, you could even go over the blue there a little bit. It's what I did with the marker pens. It's fine. We're just creating a sense of what's going on, and we don't have to be perfect about it. And that's the joy of creating. It's, you know, we're just having fun with it. We're just playing, and As you can see, I'm not fussing too much about where it goes. I'm going to go over the laces again in a minute, so I'm not worrying about smudging them too much. I'm going to get a really much lighter version of that now, just by adding white. And then I'm just going to do the top of the boot like that. Okay, can you see? There we go. And then we can drag some of that up and dot some of that light in. I am not worrying too much about where it is. Okay, I'm just creating some interest. We're not doing this from a reference photo. We don't have to worry about where it is. I want to put some at the top here. I'm going to get my smaller brush again, I think. Struggling there with that bigger brush when actually all I need to do is change. Okay, so we'll come down and just, I think the top side of that will be lighter and then underneath it will be darker, and we can come in much darker afterwards. So I'm just kind of coming here, and again we're just layering and creating some interest. That's all we're doing. And we can come across, as I said before, and kind of blend that in a bit with the blue that's underneath. Just kind of create that feeling of it's mixed colours. And we can even do that here. Bring some of that very light green down, the turquoisey colour, into the blue. That's what I did with the boots as well. Just kind of mixed in the greens and the blues together just for a bit of interest. And then I even got some of this darker green and just came up from the bottom as well and blended that up. I hope you can see this okay on the camera. All my daylight's pretty grotty today. It's a really grey day, so there's not great daylight. Just going to come up on this one as well. So what we're doing is just showing there's a bit of darkness down there because that's the bottom of the tongue of the boot. I'm going to come here for this top flap and we're just going to darken that up because it is in the background after all, so we'll darken that one up. Then I think what we'll do is we'll also get some more of that and just come around the outside of the hole here and just create that little bit of darkness underneath. And I think we can just bring in some of that darker green around here, and we can do some here where there's likely to be shadow. Dab it at the end of where the laces are going to be. We're going to go over that again in a minute. As I've said with all the other ones, these are meant to be fun activities for you to do, to enjoy. So don't worry about any mistakes or anything. We're just learning. And you make mistakes when you're learning. It's just quite normal, isn't it? Right. Now I'm going to get a really light grey. Even lighter than that. Okay, let's try this. Great. Okay, so I've gone for a really light grey now to do some kind of shading of the lighter parts of our ice skating boots. So remember that where the light source is coming from is at the front, so it'll be a bit lighter at the front. Okay, and then we'll have light bits here going down the middle as well. Now I'm using just the shades of grey mixing in on top of each other like that, because that's what will create the effect of light, is having it patchy. You don't want it too perfect. You want to be able to see some dark bits, you want to be able to see some light bits, and that's what gives us the interest to the eye. So we can have a little bit of light here and like dab a little bit here, not too much because it's underneath. Right, let's get some darker grey again. And we need to, that wasn't much darker, was it? That's better. I just want to make sure that the back of the boot is darker than the front, and we're coming from the darkness further away. I almost just want to put a bit black there, to be honest with you. Let's just do that, and then we'll also bring some of that down here. I think that will really help to make it look as though it's going in the background. Yeah, that's better. Okay. Sometimes you need to put those quite vibrant colours in to really give that depth. And we'll do the same coming down here. We know that it's going to be dark here, so that needs to be darkened, and that needs to be darkened at the top because it's underneath. It's always going to be a bit darker at the top of your skates. Okay, now we're going to come in. I need to get some water on my brush. Would help. Don't do a me and not have enough water on your brush. Okay. Sorry, hopefully you can see my head wasn't in the way again. You can tell when I'm concentrating hard because I put my head in the way. Right, so it's starting to look a bit more real now. Coming in with a slightly wider brush. Feel as though that was a bit too small. I don't want to take away too much of the dark that I've put on, so just trying to blend it down a bit. I'm just playing now, really, just trying to create some kind of feeling of action and shimmer in these skates. So I'm going to come in with some highlight now, some white. We want to make sure we've got the white in there because that is what will really show us where the light's coming from and be a good balance from the dark to show that it's 3D. Okay, just coming down here. And I'm just going to put some white highlights all along the bottom as well as some darker ones, because in order to have light we need to have dark. Hopefully you can see that. Literally just putting little shimmers of light on. That's all it needs. Here and there. Just showing sort of the different direction and movement of the blade. I'm going to put some light on there. Kind of guide that round, and that's all I'm doing really, is I'm just adding and taking away until I feel that I've got it how I want it, so that when your eye looks at it, it knows what it is. I realise I've come down here with a black, which was actually just the one from behind, so we don't want that there. So now we need to create a bit of a gradient going from the back to the front. Some more white, and we can kind of just decorate that along there. Dropped around. Give me the other one. Okay. Right. So now for tidying up those laces. So I've just done this. I'm still not happy with the bottom of that boot. It just doesn't look smooth enough to me. I can see too much of the paper texture, and I like to get rid of that really. At least a little bit. That's better. Okay, now for the laces. What we're going to do with the laces is we're going to come over with some of the lighter colour over the top. Can you see that? I know it's upside down, but it's easier for me. So yeah, we did them quite dark, so we're just going to try and lighten them up a little bit. And I'm doing it upside down, but that's fine. I can see where they are. It's not a problem. And I've literally just tickled the top of them and tried to bring the colour back down a little bit. So now I just want my little detail brush, tiny little detail brush that I use for both my watercolours and acrylics. And that helps just to get the finer details in, as you can see. And I've gone straight in with black because I want the contrast. I want to be able to see the hole where they're going, and it's dark. I think these just need a bit of shadow there, like that. Remember, again, this is illustration. I just do quick, fun activities. These are not meant to be fine art paintings or anything like that. You can do them for your scrapbook, your sketchbooks, whatever you like. But that is literally what all my kind of work is. I'm just kind of flicking some black onto the other side of those. I'm just trying to create some darkness, but you're actually using black. I don't know what it's going to look like, but should we give it a try? Why not? I quite like dark. It's dark black, but when you add, people say don't use black, but I actually quite like it. I love it for shadows, and I just think as soon as you put that black down, it makes the whole thing pop more than it did before, just like adding pure white, which is what I'll do next. So I'm going to go in with the white, and I'm now going to create like little highlights along the top of the laces, which is where the light would be just kind of catching it a bit. Yeah, just need to make sure I get the right amount on my brush because it's a detail brush. It doesn't hold much before you need to keep loading it because it's tiny. So you've almost got to keep loading it nearly every stroke. Okay, so we're putting it right over the top. Oh, that's good. It's lasted for a while, that one. Can you see? It's just made that little bit pop. And then what I also want to do with this detail brush, get some more white, is come in and just kind of draw some like little highlights in different places. Like where those holes are, you'd have a lighter bit. So I'm just coming in with a white. And when you first look at the work, then it will be more realistic because you can see light and dark. Yep, so we're also going to come down here and smudge that down a bit. I love adding the highlights and the dark bits at the end. I love it. My detail brush has got a bit clogged, so I need to go just in with the point, and then I can just come in and just draw the white bits with the point. Okay, so the light's coming from that way, so it will hit straight head on. I'm going to come in with some on the front as well, on the toe. It can come right in around here so that we can see that's where the light has shone. And now you can really see it coming together because we're adding the lights, which helps to bring out the darks, which helps it to look 3D. Oh, no paint. This is the problem, you see. Constantly you have to keep reloading it, and then if you put too much on, it just gives out these fat lumpy marks that you don't want. Yep, that's good. Okay, so I'm just going to do the same here, just kind of make the strokes a bit rounder, make them feel as though the boot's round. Okay, so like that. There we go. It's just showing the lights coming round this way. I did it better on that one than I did that one. Let's just get some of that blue. And we'll just bring it round. That's fine. Okay, let's get some more of these lighter marks and just bring a couple round. You can see I'm just gently doing some little white lines, which are just basically just lines where the light might be hitting it, you know. That's all it is. Let's get some more, and we can do here, the heel might have a little bit of light on it there. And although I have put white down here, I don't feel as though it's white enough in places, so I'm just going to come back, just do a few more. So now we've done that, we need to get maybe the darker blue, and we need to do some darker areas just for the blue. Hang on, we need to just darken that blue up a bit. All I'm going to do to darken it up a bit, I'm just going to add a tiny little bit of black to give us a slightly darker value, just because it's the last thing we're doing and it's just a quick way. Can you see? Just a quick way of creating a darker value of a same colour that you might be putting down on paper. Can you see that? That helps again to create that feeling of 3D, because we're really showing the dark shadows over here. I think I need my bigger brush again to do this. I was using my detail brush and my poor detail brush could not handle it. So let's try that again. Bit of black in with our normal blue. You don't need much. Black's a very powerful colour, so you really don't need much. And we're just going to pull down that darker colour. And we'll bring it down the back there as well, I think. And just make sure it's on my brush nicely, and we can straighten up that edge. There we go, great. So we'll just come down, build that dark down. And I often think where you've got something against something else, you have like that little shadow as well. So I'm just popping that in too here, just a little bit of shadow. I mean, there's no reference photo, so obviously here I'm just making it up as I go along. But, you know, why not? Why not? So this will be quite dark here because it is behind the other one. So I'm just going to bring that a bit down a bit further. But I think we're pretty much there. Although I think I might have lightened. I think I might have lightened this a bit too much. So let's come down with the heel a bit more. And then come up with the light again. Blend it in. That looks a bit better. This one does not look good. Too black. There we go. I'm happy now. I think. Okay, so we've done, in terms of the painting, we've done everything that we need to do. But you can, with acrylics, also go over it with any gel pens as well. So I've got a white one here, which I'm not going to use because I've already done my white highlights. But we can come in and draw that lovely little snowflake on the side like we did with everything else. So if you've seen the other videos, you will see that I've just done the snowflake. So it's 3 lines and a cross. There's little triangles to make this inner star with little bobble things on the end, and then just the normal snowflake arrow shapes. Because it's winter themed, I think that just gives it an extra touch. And then we can go along and do the little shimmers of star shapes that were on all the other ones. Try not to get my hand wet. There we go. And we could just dot it around. There are dots all over the original drawing. I haven't necessarily done it on any of the others, but there, we've given it a bit of shine. A little bit of glitz and glamour, which I think ice skating boots should have. All right, so I hope you enjoyed that. Please click the subscribe button, notification bell, so you can hear about my next video. I'm planning on bringing one video out per week where you get all 4 versions. So there's the drawing, there's the watercolour, there's the marker pens, and the acrylic painting. Yeah, so I'm going to start bringing them all to you in one. Yeah, and I hope you enjoyed it. And next week I believe is sledging. It's some children's sledging, so that'll be fun. So I hope to see you here. Thank you so much for joining me, and see you in the next video, guys. And don't forget, the printables are in the community tab if you haven't already had them in email. And if you want them emailed from now on, you just need to register on my website. All the links are below, heartanddesign.org.uk. and every 3 months when I have the new sheets come out, you'll also get all the step-by-step sheets as well for learning how to draw. So there's lots there for you to have. Take care and see you in the next one.